Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
Benji! Ethan? Open the door!
Yeah, okay.
Benji, open that door right now!
Yeah, I'm trying.
Come on.
This isn't going very well.
Agent Brad, the IMF is not just a rogue organization. It is a disgraced one.
Every one of the attacks you attributed to the Syndicate.
The IMF is there. It's a long story. I want you to choose your next words very carefully. Where is Hunt?
I have no way of contacting him. He's deep cover.
Benji, I need your help.
Ethan, where are you?
The Syndicate is real, and they know who we are.
They're trained to do what we do.
An anti-IMF. Neither one of us is equipped to fight them alone.
You want to bring down the Syndicate? It's impossible.
How do you know we can trust her? Desperate times. Desperate measures.
Get your seatbelt on. You want to be down now?
Are you okay to drive? A minute ago you were dead. What are you talking about?
This is not going to end well.
This may very well be our last mission. Make it count.
You have to get through 12 feet of concrete and 70,000 gallons of pressurized water.
No oxygen tanks.
That doesn't sound impossible.
No.
Ethan, do you copy? Ethan, abort! Abort now!
Welcome to the Not Watching Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and this week I'm joined by
Ian Bruce.
John Marson.
And Marcus Hurley.
You can contact us on email at notwatchingpodcast@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter at notwatchingpod. Most of us went to see Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, I believe. This being the fifth in the Mission Impossible franchise. And this, do you realise these films have been going for pretty much 20 years?
Yeah.
It's kind of epic, and there's been a lot of different directors. This one was written and directed by Christopher McQuarrie, who worked with Tom Cruise previously on the Jack Reacher adaptation.
Which I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I thought it was okay. I thought it was a bit run of the mill, but then I don't know those books and stuff.
But it could have been a Tom Cruise action movie, but it was a bit run of the mill, so I kind of liked it for that. It was kind of a 70s cheap Sunday afternoon, maybe. Yeah, it's right.
Man from Uncle.
Yeah.
Well, we've got that very soon. So how have people come to this then? I mean, I've always been ridiculed to some extent for my enjoyment of this series.
Only the second one, mate.
The second one, yeah, but I didn't mind the second one. That was
oh god, it's been about 20 years. Just move on from that, really. Jesus,
I'm letting myself in for it. It's pretty much old news now. But anyway, my point is though that Tom Cruise has kind of produced all these films, but he's let everyone sort of have a go on it. Like lots of different directors, like Brian De Palma did the original, John Woo did the second one. So each one's kind of had a different kind of spin on it. And I just wondered how you guys think this one stacks up against the other entries in the series.
Well, I think this one kind of reminded me of the previous one a bit, and they both remind me of sort of Daniel Craig era Bond. You know, everyone uses the phrase gritty, I'm not going to. But there was a lot of grit flying around because there's a lot of cars and vehicles. But it was a little bit brutal, like the fight sequences in this. I mean...
No blood, though.
There was no blood, but it didn't need to be. You know, when the woman stabs you in the heart, She stabs you in the heart.
Yeah,
while sitting
true.
on your head. Spoiler, but when you see it,
Yeah,
you're
well,
going to go.
John hasn't seen it, so I don't want to get too
I'm not,
spoilery.
no. It's good, John.
It's okay. I'll have forgotten this conversation by the time I do get to see it.
Yeah.
Well, the one bit that most people have probably seen though is a shot actually from the beginning of the movie. It was quite heavily publicised.
Spoiler, Rob.
Yeah, spoiler.
Well, it's not really a spoiler
Yeah,
when
it
it's
is.
using all the
telling
marketing.
them where it is. We can mention things, but we can't give it any chronological
To be
sense.
honest,
Jesus.
to be honest, I heard the film creators weren't even sure whether it was going to be at the beginning or the end. To be honest, because it's such a
But now everybody
an
knows it's at the
isolated-
beginning. All right, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Well, I've heard it mentioned on other shows, so I thought it would be safe. But yeah, there's a bit basically where Tom Cruise is attached to the side of a plane, and this is kind of his token
Yes.
sort of daredevil.
What's going to kill him one day, definitely.
Hanging on by his fingertips of ridiculous things, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay, because when he does die, he'll just become one with the universe and float around like an ethereal cloud of Cruise.
Clinging on to
suppose
something else by his fingertips.
it's difficult to have a conversation about Tom Cruise without mentioning that
Stupidology.
stuff.
How dumb he is.
Yeah.
He's also
I don't know.
He's also very charming at red carpet things, and he's always good interview on talk
Yeah.
shows. So I find him slightly annoying like that because his personal beliefs are what everybody kind of focuses on. But actually, he seems to be quite a nice guy.
Yeah.
He has
It
gone
could all
through.
be a scam to get out of paying tax as well.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely.
Which is why he's nice to everyone.
Yeah, but he comes across as a nice guy. He likes the work that he's doing. I've not heard him say a bad thing about any films he's done. He always puts his all into it. And Scientology doesn't really affect me, so best of luck to him, really.
Yeah, I mean, I feel similar to like the whole Michael Jackson thing. It's like you've got to separate the man from the art.
Yeah,
sometimes,
there's a line
you know?
there, mate, and I think no. Let's move on.
I'm going back to fingertips again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just doing it for the kids, right? Shall we?
So, what did you think of it, Ian? Then this one.
I really enjoyed it. I saw the last one with my wife, who enjoys the cruise. And we enjoyed that, although my wife is Russian, so obviously she was laughing at the tedious, stereotypical portrayal of Russia in the last one.
Oh, yeah.
With the Dow walls and the fucking 80s Cold War music and shit. It's not like that in Russia, it's quite a nice place.
No, it's not.
Especially after Tom Cruise has been there. There's no...
You're there now, John, aren't you? And you don't like it.
Everyone's called Boris, and there's dead bodies everywhere.
I think that's Ukraine, but we'll move away from that. It's too early for satire.
Yeah.
But we both really enjoyed the trailer. The plane stuff looked crazy. The stunts with Simon Pegg in a car that looked crazy. And we both really enjoyed the film. For us, it was 6 minutes of plot and then 2 hours of stunts in that order. And that was good enough for us. We went, ooh, ah, at all the stunts and stuff. The plot, you could have written it on the back of a postage stamp. And it was pretty cool that it was about 3 minutes in and that the whole plot was done then. That was basically the plot done. The first, I can't say anything without spoiling it.
Yeah.
Well, I think...
very early on in the movie is revealed the entire plot of the movie.
Did it have more plot than Mad Max?
Not really. I didn't really think so.
Well,
that's quite a thing.
A little bit more.
Well, there was some, yeah, but
only because more people came along into the story.
Yes.
Whereas Mad Max, everyone was there at the start, and it just went rah.
Although I really enjoyed it, I absolutely knew what I was going to get, and it didn't disappoint all the way through. We knew when X arrives, this is going to happen. When this happens, something else is going to happen like that. There were no surprises at all. Absolutely none.
Did you see the face mask bit?
Yes.
Coming.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was like, I was just pleased when it happened though, because it was like, I know he's.
We kind of saw that in the first one 20 years ago. We kind of saw that coming in the first one. So
yeah.
Although I really enjoyed it, it did feel like, and this is a bit of crossover, so bear with me. It did feel like it could have been an Uncharted movie. Because
I know exactly where you're going with
this. It was
this.
just a tedious little bit of plot, and then now we're in a new country doing some cool stunts.
It was
Tedious
like
bit of plot, somewhere else, new stunts. fuck off.
It was like literally there was like a cutscene, and then there was the action bit that you would normally be controlling.
Yes.
Like it was like each they'd start off in a location, and you were waiting for the set piece. You're waiting for the game bit to take over.
You're waiting for the camera to spin round, and then you sort of take control.
Whether it was escape from a prison, or it was a motorbike chase, or underwater section that's in so many video games.
And then you'd get a loading screen explaining what's going to happen next, and then you'd be off to the next stuntage. And that was fine, but I only really thought it was like Uncharted because Simon Pegg has become the comedy sidekick.
Yeah.
And there were certainly points where he was less comedy, but he really was just there to be the comedy foil.
I thought he was actually alright in this, because sometimes he can be a bit over. It's like almost too ad-libs, it's apparently supposedly ad-libbed, and you kind of think it's a bit over the top, but I thought he was quite alright in this one.
Yeah, and I thought it worked well, but Rob said earlier that this one and the last one were like Craig-era Bond. This one for me was getting towards Roger Moore era, where it was just becoming a bit tongue-in-cheek, and although it was good fun, a lot of it was just batshit ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't mean the stunts. I mean, how have you even arrived at that situation with these people with nobody going, well, what the hell are you doing there?
Yeah.
Just the plot, you could have driven a planet through the plot holes. But for a popcorn movie, it was really good fun. Everybody did good work. Really like Rebecca Ferguson. Not heard of her before.
She is stunning. Like, absolutely stunning. She's got like a kind of old-fashioned movie star look to her, I thought.
Also quite a good actor, actress, whatever the correct term is at the moment.
Well, and an amazingly interesting voice as well, because she's like a British agent technically, but you can tell that it sounds like there's more to her character, but they don't reveal any of that in this movie.
But she's Swedish.
So she might come back, maybe.
She's Swedish, not English.
Yeah,
British.
But yeah, that's like they sort of make some vague kind of reference to the fact that she's not originally MI6 or 5, whatever it is.
There was... I don't think this is a spoiler, but at one point, the two characters were in a plane saying, where is this person? Where is this person? And then 5 minutes later, they landed and were with the person they were looking for. And
that's lucky.
A Good Day to Die Hard did that, where they said, right, let's go to Chernobyl, and they were in Moscow, and then an hour later in the film they were in Chernobyl, and there's just no way you could do that. You couldn't do that in a fucking plane. I think it's stopped taking itself seriously, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But I wonder if at some point in the future it'll reboot itself and start being serious again.
Well, they're apparently already number 6 is already in the works.
Cool. I'm up for that.
They're fast tracking it. I think they've got a bit of they've seen what the Fast and the Furious franchise has done, and I think they're trying to sort of capitalise on that sort of momentum again, in a similar way. But I think this one did really well at the box office, did 100 million in opening weekend. So it looks like more Mission Impossibles are on the way.
It's not a film for film studies, but it's a good action movie.
Yeah.
It's a good...
Yeah.
I'm going to look forward to the next one. We'll probably see Tom Cruise clinging onto a satellite as it's spinning around the Earth by his fingertips at the start.
Yeah, in space.
Already.
Yeah.
Speak to his makers.
Just a quick thing. I mean, I actually did turn to you, Rob, at one moment and say it's like that Uncharted video at E3.
I couldn't hear you under the din of the motorcycles at the time. I was like,
this is insane. It's just Anyway, it was. I really enjoyed it. I think if you're going to go and watch an action film, be thoroughly entertained and feel as though you've got your money's worth because you've come away grinning, then I think it's definitely worth the money.
Yeah, I think for my money, it's my favourite summer movie after Mad Max. And now that I think that's probably starting to disappear from the cinema, this is a worthy sort of replacement if you want that kind of thing.
I thought it was really good for a franchise. It could have been the same old shit again, maybe. It could have been another Bond, and I know everybody rates the last Bond, but I'm a little tired of them. I think if Bond became what this Mission Impossible was, I would enjoy it again. But it just seems to want to be too gritty, and it's...
Bring back the insanity.
Yeah.
I just wanted to quickly mention about the soundtrack, which, like lots of people have used that theme in creative ways, but there's a sequence involving Nessun Dorma, the opera, and the way they kind of worked that into the score, especially when the female love interest was around. I thought that was kind of ingenious.
Yeah, that was. There were some really great sequences. Really, really great.
What I thought was really good about it, and it's kind of a little bit of a spoiler. She's a love interest, but she kind of isn't as well. It's more like an equal colleague, isn't it? That's what I thought was good about it.
Unless you're looking at the movie poster where she's sitting in leather on a bike with her arse hanging over. Did you see that? Simon Pegg was complaining about the marketing for the movie.
Yeah, it's got me in a jacket, him in a jacket, her with her arse hanging out.
Yeah, her looking sexy and hot on the back of a motorbike, shot from the rear, so her rear is full on in the, It's fair enough. No, it's not fair enough.
I think he just wants a catsuit. That's all it was. He just
covered in honey.
Anyway,
yeah.
I wanted to add one of the trailers we saw before the film was the trailer for the new Hitman movie with what's his name out of Homeland.
Oh,
Statham,
I know who you mean.
Sadly, Statham isn't it? And I think that will probably be the next one we see. It looks kind of bonkers. Doesn't look as bad as what's that shitty one with
Timothy Olyphant was in the original, and this one's got Rupert Friend in it.
It doesn't look as crazy as Lucy. It kind of looks like it's just going to be an hour and a half of fun. And my wife said she wanted to see it, so who am I to argue?
Oh well, yeah. Any excuse to go to the movies.
Yes.
This has been the Not Watching Podcast in partnership with notlistening.co.uk. You can contact us on email at notwatchingpodcast@gmail.com, follow us on Twitter at notwatchingpod, and you can find the show notes for this show at notlistening.co.uk. If you're listening to us on iTunes, then please give us a review. And that's all for now. Thanks for listening. See ya!
Batman, BF.